Well, here we are. The Lions, are they a surprise? Is it unbelievable to some extent? Yes, it is. It is a surprise. It is unbelievable. I've been talking about it for weeks. I've been I thought I was very, kind and nice, and to the point where I thought I gave some really good critiques of the team. I thought I gave some really good reviews of the Detroit Lions wins and losses. I don't know what to say about this loss the game before Thanksgiving against Green Bay. Let me go ahead and break it down to you. Chicago, Jay Cutler is hurt. Uh, Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers is out. The Detroit Lions are at full capacity. They are operating. There's nobody injured of any importance on our team. So one can deduce that if your team with all that talent is 6-3, which should be probably 8 or 9-1. Let's be honest. The only game the Detroit Lions, with all of the talent they have, should have only lost it to Green Bay at home. What this reveals to us, and what I've been saying the last 11 weeks in these videos, is the fact that Jim Schwartz is not a professional not a professional coach. The bottom line is, at best, he's an assistant defensive coordinator. That is his expertise. It came to light to me in the Cincinnati Bengals game where he had no, and I covered this in the video, where he had no game plan for the Cincinnati Bengals. What was even worse was the fact that he stole Cincinnati's defensive game plan and used it against Tony Romo with a weak side blitz from the corner. And then from then on, it's like you didn't know what to do. The other problem that I have is there is no progression in Matthew Stafford's decision making. And the fact comes to that of there's no procurement in grabbing a good quarterback coach and progressing him along his abilities of being a good quarterback. I mean, you're taking great players and you're destroying their confidence by making them cough up the ball and making them, they should have realized this was a problem when the Lions started to come back from every single game, and they never lead in any game with any of that talent. This only shows it doesn't have to do with the players. It has to do with the game plan of the coach not coming up with a game plan by watching film and realizing this is what we have to do. Because if that were the case, then every week the Lions would have a lead instead of okay, this is what they're doing to us. Let's play catch up and put all our players at risk. I mean, you're pushing your players to a level of the play is already there because they have their players come up to another level of game and have them coming back. It's harder to come back in NFL games. This shows you the talent that they have, that they come back every second half because Jim Schwartz doesn't have a game plan. And it shows because the team never comes out with a lead with that much talent, but they can come back in the second half. I mean, you're talking pro-level comebacks every single week for 2 years. These guys are burnt out. They're burning them. They're burning the talent out on this team. I didn't start seeing it until I seen the special teams coach 2 years ago, and they wouldn't fire him. And how many games that cost us last year? That's the weakest coaching area and exposure that they have. The defensive back coach is completely clueless. They're getting burned. They're getting exposed every week. They got exposed this week. Excuse me. Catching a cold. They got exposed this week Their coaches, defensive coach, DB coach or defensive back coaches, defensive secondaries got fried because they don't know how to coach football. It's like Jim Schwartz is delegating and doesn't even pay attention to what the delegations are, or even checks up on his coaching staff. It's so bad there. I don't understand how in the NFL it takes so long to make changes. I'm highly disappointed. And if they lose Thanksgiving to a hapless Green Bay team on a 3-game losing streak at home with a second-string quarterback, there's nothing else to say. It's over. It's over at this point anyway. You lost the 2 losing teams. I don't know how you could lose to Mike Tomlin last week. This guy that just shows you, if you lose to Mike Tomlin, you're totally clueless. And the fact that you lose to the worst team that's in disarray, who don't have a quarterback, away with Revis on the sideline. Oh my goodness. Tampa Bay wanted to hand you the game. There's nothing else to say. I've said it every single week. There's no game balls to give out this week. Everybody is exhausted because Jim Schwartz doesn't know how to coach the Detroit Lions with tons of talent. At best, if you're listening in the general management and you are one of the forwards of this team, please fire everybody this year. It's a shame. It's too bad you can't hire. Go get Bill Belichick out of the commentator booth. Andy Reid with a hapless Kansas City Chiefs is 9-2. Can you imagine what he would have been able to do with the Detroit Lions? Oh my goodness. He does not know how to disguise. Does not know how to disguise Calvin Johnson. I have nothing else to say. Jim Schwartz is a terrible coach. I don't care what he does from this point forward. And I don't know if he can change. If he does change, well, good for him. At this point in time, I don't think if he loses Thanksgiving, I don't think his players even respect him anymore. And I think the respect goes to the point where he got punked out by Jim Harbaugh in the middle of the field at home. After that point, his players, you got to understand, the NFL, Ray Lewis was slow as hell in the Super Bowl. But he willed his team because of emotion. Football is played on emotion and respect. And if your team doesn't emotionally respect you, they're not going to play for you. And this is evident by the fact that Matt Stafford throws 4 interceptions. It's sloppy. You don't have a good coach. The secondary gets toasted by a last place team. You don't fire your special teams coach because you don't know what's going on. You're pathetic. Unbelievable. We are 6-5. With 2 core. It's just poof, mind blowing. Jay Cutler and Aaron Rodgers is out and you're 6-5? For real? Oh my God. I don't even know what else to say. There's nothing else to say. I can't wait for the disaster to happen come tomorrow, Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be highly infuriated. I'm gonna be just frustrated and furious. I don't even know I'm just so flustered. I don't even know what the word I want to use right now. I feel like choking, like Homer Simpson does to Bart Simpson. That is what I'm thinking right now. It's just terrible to be wasted. I can't believe that Lions never had this much talent. And I cannot believe that we have a subpar assistant defensive coordinator. I don't even know if he's running our team. Shameful. Anyways, I'm out. Terrible. Just terrible.